So today we got our special guest, Miryha Fantegrossi, the Senior Vice President of Merchandising and Design at Wacoal America. We're going to be talking about bras, underwear, the construction of them, the design of them, the past, present, and future of them. And she's got some great insights, not just from how bras are made and what they do, because you guys are one of the leaders, right? You guys are the leader in retail.
We're number one in department store designer brand.
And you also have the number one sports bra?
We have a lot of number ones. We have the number one sport bra. We have the number one strapless. We have the number 6 bra in the total category. So we definitely fill a lot of different wardrobe needs for our customer.
But it was really interesting to hear your journey as well, and how you view the industry and how you're really helping women be more comfortable in their own skin. Listen to the whole damn podcast.
The whole damn podcast.
You're gonna learn a lot about the importance of support.
Yes, and if there's one thing that men, women, humans that we can all bond on that you find out in the podcast is we're all fighting against gravity, and together we will conquer.
Where do you reside?
So I am in Manhattan. So we're on 32nd and Madison in the city. But I live in Connecticut. Okay.
All right. I'm always curious about if people that work in Manhattan live in Manhattan. Like, that's got to just be just an inundation of just nonstop. Like, you got to have some decompression time.
Right. Well, that's ironically, like, most people look at me and they think, how do you take the train? Everybody, all my friends, how do you do it? And I think it's actually the days that I don't do it, I have a harder time transitioning into being a mom at home because I don't have that hour to disconnect from work and then reconnect for home. So I actually like the commute for that. I don't like being on the schedule. Like, I don't like that anxiety feeling that I get around 4:00 that if I don't wrap up what I'm doing right now, I'm going to miss the train, and then it's going to domino into a million little nightmares.
But there's some comfort in that. So are you allowed to bring, like, maybe a bottle of wine on the train just to help you with that kind of transition?
You totally can drink on the train.
You can buy.
They sell wine in Grand Central, and they sell the little bottles. So you can get a little bottle and a plastic cup and drink it on the train.
Quick, call Alex.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, why are we not well represented at Grand Central Station?
You should be just hustling on the trains, dude, right there. Just like,
When I started, there was a bar car on the train. So on the way home, you would try and time it so you were on one of the trains that had the bar car. All the guys were in the bar car.
Uh-huh.
Not as many women were doing the commute, and you fully could drink. Like, they had hard alcohol, wine, the whole thing. And then I think probably 8 years ago, the last bar car went out of commission. But then they had at the top of the train platform, but as you were like running down, they had a bar cart.
Yeah.
And you could grab and go. Now that's gone because the person who had the concession license was like skimming off the top or something. But there was some legal.
Not in New York. That would never happen.
Now you just buy it at the wine store.
Okay. Well, I'm surprised they got rid of the bar car that sounds like it'd be a good moneymaker.
Yeah, I mean, they have like train shows and stuff. You got like the people going on there and dancing and doing on the poles and swinging around and stuff like that. I mean, that could be like kind of your sales crew. They come in, they get everyone's attention, and then they serve some wine. They sell some bottles.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm gonna work on it.
There's opportunity everywhere, Chris. Opportunity everywhere. All right, yeah, let's go for it. All right,
let's go for it. Let's go with your ballot.
We gotta
save me.
Save you. We got a special guest today. We got Miryha Fantegrossi. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So, Senior Vice President of Merchandising and Design at Wacoal America. So, leading? Wacoal America.
Sorry, he's Italian. He's still learning this.
I botch all the names. Yeah.
No, it's like
Wacoal.
really we wanted to do a recording of all the different ways people pronounce our brand because no one can say it right. Even I sometimes get nervous when I'm saying it, and half the time I can't spell it.
We have the same thing with
Yeah.
almost all of our brands. Like I really don't care how people say it. I'm like, just as long as you like it and you continue
Right.
to buy it, like just I love you for that. And so
We actually have
Really
video.
great.
We have a video, a social media video that we did on how to say Bell Gloss.
yeah. Yeah.
Because people, there was Bell Glow.
Bella Glow, Bella Gloss, yeah.
Yeah.
Just simple Bell Gloss. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll try this again. So we have a special guest today. We got Miryha Fantegrossi, who is the Senior Vice President of Merchandising and Design at Wacoal America, the leading, I would say, intimate wear?
Yep.
Bras,
Bras,
lingerie.
Used
Yeah.
to be lingerie, then it started being called Intimate Apparel. Sometimes that sounds a little touchy, but
Intimate
basically
Apparel.
bras, panties,
Yeah.
shapewear.
Okay. Well, welcome and thank you for joining us on Go With Your Palette. As always, you got me, Joe Wagner, and Fat Mario Chris Rubio right here. We can tell you about his name later.
It's a whole other story.
Where we talk about wine, entrepreneurship, and whatever the fuck else. So, happy to have you and looking forward to hearing about your journey. Love the background for anybody that's actually
Yes.
watching and not just listening. You look like you've just got an awesome design studio there. It's got to be a fun job. Why don't we start with that? Like, what does your day look like
Yeah.
Well, no
besides
two-
the
I mean,
commute?
Besides the commute. Yeah.
the commute. I mean, it's seldom that 2 days are the same. Usually I come in with like a list of things that I think I'm gonna do. But it usually runs a different way. On any given day, we may have between 3 and 5 models in for fittings. So since we fit like all of our bras on Real Women, so my day consists of fitting models, sourcing materials, having line meetings, going through our, I don't know, sourcing strategy, costing strategy. I mean, like literally every week is something different in our development calendar. So I think the part that most people find the most interesting is the development side, is the more creative side,
Mm-hmm.
kind of the stuff that's sort of sitting behind me.
Yeah.
I probably spend 15-20% of my time doing what I call the fun stuff. But then there's a lot of other highly technical stuff that goes into building bras.
So
and with everything that you're building, there's always complexity and things that come up.
So with that 15 to 20% of kind of like effort going towards and time going towards design, I'm asking kind of from a personal perspective because it sounds like you and I have a similar maybe journey and where we're at right now, where I'm doing very much less of the stuff that I love doing, and very much more of the shit I don't. And and I'm not saying that's your deck of cards right now, but as business progresses, you end up having to manage people doing the stuff you love to a degree. And relying upon them, but also then managing the other parts of the business that are what really, I think, drive the trajectory and the growth and the profitability. And so it sounds like you're like, when you got into this, were you just all about design, and now you're into sourcing and scheduling and all that?
When I started, I've only worked in intimate apparel. So even in college, I interned in the same category. So some may say I'm an expert, some may say it's just like tunnel vision. But even at my very first job where I was in merchandising, I was constantly obsessed with product, sourcing product, shopping for product, seeing product on different people, learning like what makes one thing different than the other. In bras, it's so specific to the materials and to the construction, but they kind of, to layman probably, I'm not calling you that, but to many, you probably look at a bra and go, well, how is it so different? But in solving problems that women have, like each millimeter that you might change something or select something makes a difference. So I find that very intellectually challenging. And so when I started, it was, I was the intern or I was right out of college. I was doing a lot of the shopping, going out and seeing what's going on with the competition. So I was out of the office a lot more than I am now. Now I have to schedule time to get to stores to make sure I'm seeing what's happening with the competition. Then it was like I was always out on the street. In the beginning, spend so much more time when you're building the color roadmap, like looking at all the colors and humming and hawing and pulling inspiration to do it. Now it's okay, well, we got to get the color roadmap done. We have to make sure, we're on schedule for production. Oh, yeah. And then once we make those decisions, we can't change them. Oh, retailer A wants this and B wants that. And then we have to figure out how to make everybody happy. And all of that sucks. It's like not as fun.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
purely being like, I like this color. It's trending. I think it would be fabulous. And now I'm, trying to balance what I think the consumer wants, what the trends are, what the retailers want, what colors are easy to make, et cetera, et cetera.
And are you getting like retailers that want exclusivity on a certain style or color? Is that a very common thing in your world?
It's a common ask. It's hard to do because of production minimums.
I bet.
And
yeah.
so we don't do a lot of it, but we do some of it. We have certain styles in our line that have been in the line a long time. And one of the ways that we bring newness to it is just to give it a shot of color. And because we do so, women, when they love a bra, that's all that, they wear that bra forever. And so they will buy that same bra in black and nude, and then maybe a fashion color multiple times. So we could do large runs of a fashion color. So sometimes we do the exclusives.
That is funny. That's exactly how my wife is.
She's
just like,
right when she said the one bra. I think
this
that,
works. I'm getting 10 of them.
Yeah, that's good.
But
It's
to your
hard
my
to
girlfriend.
find that one. And so when you find the one, it's like, I just want to stick to it. And so I think, that's one of the things, like our brand has been around a long time. So a lot of our top styles have been in the line a long time. And so we have a lot of repeat customers who come back for it. Customers get very frustrated if you discontinue a bra. Like if they fall in love and now you discontinue it, we get letters, like I get letters, our CEO gets letters, customer service, like real handwritten letters.
Wow. I mean, it's an important
passion.
thing.
There's a
Yeah.
passion. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
That's it.
guys are over here just being like, well, is it see-through or not? Like, there's a lot
Yeah.
more that goes into it.
That's why we're here.
That's exactly
We're blessed and encouraged by your presence, Miryha. We're hoping to learn a lot, and then we can kind of earn some brownie points, kind of show off when we're like checking out the bras, of our ladies,
Yeah.
And we're like, actually, if you I heard if you touch this or you look at the root of your breast, you see this. Yeah, I've been watching videos.
You've been studying.
Yes.
That is very impressive.
Before we jump into this, because I thought we got a beautiful snapshot, but I love your true origin stories, like to go way back, because I feel like this creativity and this real special ability that you have for design started at even when you were young and stuff. So if you don't mind, if we could take a little back and just kind of go along your journey to where you got today.
So I went to Syracuse University. And while I was there, I was studying retail marketing, and I was in the College for Human Development. That's where the fashion major resided. And Elle magazine posted a job opportunity with the magazine. And this was freshman year, and I applied and I got it. And I was so excited. I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I got like the best internship. And maybe 3 weeks after they offered me the internship, I got a letter in the mail saying, this is like when you got letters over emails. I got a letter saying, oops, we're so sorry. We posted the internship in the wrong college. We meant to put it in the communication school for journalism. And so I had, it was maybe 3 weeks until graduation and I didn't have an internship lined up. And I was very career focused. And so I remember calling my mom and being like, what do I do? And she said, well, why don't you reach out to Mr. Chaden? He's in fashion. He worked at Playtex, which is another bra company. And so I reached out to him and I asked him, hey, do you need any help this summer? I loved, the experience, the exposure. And he said, yeah, let me ask around if anybody needs anything. And a day or so later, I get a letter FedEx to me and up at Syracuse with like a job offer. And like, I can't remember, I need to find it. It was either $1,500 or $3,000 a month. And my other friends were not even getting paid. And I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is amazing. And so I show up and Playtex at the time had the license for Ralph Lauren Intimates. So they manufacture for the Ralph Lauren brand. And so I was placed in that division. And I remember being there about a week and everybody's scurrying around looking for papers and stacking things. And they're, oh, we got to get this for the Chaden meeting, everyone. And so I went up to the receptionist and I was like, why is everybody saying, like, do you have it for the Chaden meeting? Why is everybody calling it after Mr. Chaden? And she looked at me and she goes, because he's the CEO. And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea that when I asked for this internship, that he was the CEO of the company. And of course he would give it to me because he had all the ability to do that. And so I really, every single time I get a promotion or like change jobs or a promotion, I print off my offer letter and I mail it to him and I write thank you on it because I get teary-eyed because he like opened up that first door for me and I had no idea that he was in the position to unlock what would become now a 24 or 25-year career in the category. So
Yeah.
I started as an intern for Ralph Lauren and I did it all through college, every summer, every winter break. And then when I graduated, I got an offer by Bloomingdale's to go into the buying program. But then Bally, which was all then became part of the same parent company that Playtex was part of, offered me a job for $20,000 more. And so I said to Bloomies, sorry, but I'm going to take this opportunity. And then I worked for Bally, Barely There, and Wonder Bra was my first, I worked on those first brands. And then from there, I went to Vanity Fair, another lingerie company, for 30 seconds because they consolidated their New York office to Georgia. And then I went to Jockey. They do men's as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now at Wacoal for just over 10 years.
Wow.
So
That's
always
awesome.
category specific.
And always focusing on more on the women's side of intimate apparel and underwear.
I had exposure on the men's side when I was at Jockey, but I wasn't responsible for it.
Yeah, that's a whole different set of rules, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where for me, that's where the funny stuff happened is like when I would have to help out our men's design director there backstage with his models, I was completely out of my comfort zone, adjusting men into the product the same way I would adjust women every day in the product and make them look great. Now I was doing it with guys. I was like, oh, okay.
Where's the root?
Where's the root?
You don't even want to go there. Nobody likes that.
Very different one.
Well, that's a great story. So the gentleman who gave you that first internship, is he still in the industry?
He's since retired.
Okay.
I think he was serving on the board of Hanes for years after, but I think he's fully retired now.
It's such an interesting business. I mean, you're very focused at Wacoal about just you're not trying to expand outside of what you guys know, right? I mean, have you guys done that? You know what you know, and you just want to dominate that category.
Yeah. I mean, we have thought sometimes about adjacent categories, but haven't really jumped that way. Maybe, there's sleep and swim. They always kind of dance around us. But there's a lot of complexity to those businesses that we haven't wanted to just go there yet.
I don't know if you know this though, because you just mentioned it right now with swimwear, but Joe actually had a swimwear little company going for a while. So, and did you design those swimsuits too? Did you have some?
I did.
Oh, you don't want to talk about this?
I don't want to talk about this.
Well, I'm sorry I brought it up.
It didn't work out, Miryha. So it's
I'm just saying, I think it's kind of funny that, I mean, a dude, he took his chance in it.
Well, no, I wasn't alone in it, okay? But it
Okay.
was like, the industry,
And women?
men and women's, predominantly women's, is what the focus was on, but there were both. It was fun. It was, we were trying to find ways to like open up new categories for wine, and at the time it was like my accountant was like, try something different. Looked at, because we needed to take a loss, which is a great problem to have. So so I know she laughs. She's like, so you got into swimwear to take a loss? Yeah, we took a loss.
I'm gonna say, 'cause that's why we haven't gone there. It's a very hard category to succeed in.
So we looked at sunglasses, which is dominated by like 97% of the category is dominated by like two companies. So decided not to get into that, and then got into swimwear, and it was a very fun endeavor. It didn't quite meld like we wanted it to with the wine piece. Like we were really trying to like get into fashion lightly to bring wine and fashion together, doing events where we merged the two. And overall, it was really dealing with, because we were very small, so like we didn't have the power to be working with maybe reputable people. And so there were a lot of bad actors, and like people just wouldn't pay, and that was the most frustrating part. So we ended up just like, you'd go from one vendor to another, and you'd pay them on time, and then whenever you sold product, they wouldn't pay, and you're like what is going on with this? And so lots of I don't know. I think there's people in every industry, but it seemed like in fashion there were a lot of people that were just there to take advantage of it. And so if you have a brand and you're working with companies and businesses that like big retailers that you can rely upon, that have good reputations, that's one thing. If you're dealing with the smaller guys, I think they're kind of like, well, I'll take your product, but it's been 120 days since we took your product. We haven't paid you. Yeah, okay. Anyways, that was my experience.
I'm sorry. You should have called. We should have met sooner.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, wait,
Yeah.
in all
If we
fairness,
met
you
sooner,
got into sports.
I wouldn't have helped. I would have advised you not to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, just like Art said, he got into Sports Illustrated.
We did. We were in Sports Illustrated. That was cool.
Oh, yeah.
But still,
There you go.
that doesn't mean you have big sales. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So that's more of just, that's a cool little feather in the hat. But yeah, I mean, it'd be the same. Like if you were like, hey, Joe, I'm going to start making wine in my garage. It'd be like, whoa, hold up. Don't do it.
I always feel like when you know so much about a category, it's dangerous and limiting at the same time, because often people will say, well, why don't you launch your own brand? Like, right, you should do this on your own. You have these ideas. And I'm always like, oh my God, but the inventory and the production and all of the elements that go into being successful that need to be very well managed is completely overwhelming. And then you get even further from the fun stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But what you don't know, when you look at a category and you don't know anything about it, and all you see is the underserved customer that you maybe see like as a white space, you can jump in and sometimes you can come up with a way of tackling it and be successful. So sometimes I feel like not knowing anything about it is freeing. And sometimes you're able to find a path better than when you know so much about it. Sometimes you could be crippled by the amount of knowledge you have.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so it doesn't drive innovation is kind of another, I mean, maybe I should say that smaller operators with a crazy idea are going to be able to be a little more innovative than something established, right? So, I mean, I would imagine you guys are still innovating on a.
Like in our space, there's a lot of disruptor brands that have been launching with pretty decent to good marketing with, pitches to the customer that appeal to maybe some of the things that they feel dissatisfied by in bras. But then they have made zero investment beyond the marketing on any of the product development, fit, quality, etc. So they get the customer to buy it because they've got a great line
Yeah.
and a slogan, marketing.
Yeah.
But then the deliverable, the product is terrible. And, time and time again, we win when it comes to product. Our product is our loyalty system. Like we drive consumer loyalty from our product because they know what they're going to get with us. And then because we have such an experienced team, we're able to innovate in nuanced ways that brings something that the customer doesn't even know how to articulate, but as soon as she puts it on, she feels it.
Yeah.
I do get a little defensive we definitely do innovate when we're the size that we are. But it's less out of the box thinking.
And
that makes sense.
And yeah, when it comes to like these disruptor brands that come out, it seems like there's a big push for these smaller companies to like just hit online, easy entry, and then they have their marketing pitch, like you said, and they get that initial buy. And then it's going to be up to the customer to decide if they want to repurchase. And you guys still really have your foundation in retail.
Yeah, we're close to, we're 45% e-com and 55% brick and mortar. So we're pretty, now not just our e-com. It could be with Macy's.com, Nordstrom.com, Amazon is in there. But we're almost half.
I guess my question about that is, with regard to the disruptors really being, I think, a little more on the side of the e-com. You establish your brand through kind of fit and trial in person, and then you have the follow-up buys. It's like, okay, I like this bra, I want it in 4 colors, and they just go online and purchase. Is that, you see that conversion rate?
Yes, for sure. It's interesting with every new product launch we have to see how it performs against the existing assortment on our site. Because for a very long time, our website was pretty much replenishment. Customers would, go to a department store, get fit, fall in love with a style, and then either reorder from the retailer site or reorder from our site. But we would see it would take a longer time for new product launches on our site to take off versus in store. In store, as soon as the customer can touch it and feel it, engage with the product, it can take off.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a lot we've been learning over, what kind of tools or assets does she need on the product page so that we can emulate as much as we can that in-store experience for her so she feels like she's getting reliable information, things that will help her make the choice between the different styles. But it's harder. It's definitely harder for her. I'm a big proponent of going in stores and getting fit. And what a difference it makes when you're fit by somebody who knows what they're doing and
I totally agree with that. Like the service thing, and I feel like we're going. I'm a double A cup. Okay. But no, it does make a difference when you go into, a store and even with like pants, like somebody will, come in and they spend 5 minutes with you. You're like, I'm buying that and I'm buying other stuff too. And they just brought me 3 other items. And it's like, that's a huge difference that like, I think that our society is moving back towards that. Like we've been missing it for so many years as technology. Everybody just leaned on that. Now it's like, no, we want the personal interaction. We want that level of service. And
And the
I totally
knowledge,
agree.
Yeah,
that
the knowledge, yeah.
connection that happens when you have a dialogue with somebody and they see who you are, right? Like you go in person and you're getting fit, whether it's pants or a bra, they're physically looking at you, and whether they're saying what they're thinking or not, but they're sizing you up, no pun intended. And then they're able to make selections and hand them to you in a way that you're going to be more satisfied quickly versus when you're on your own and you're just seeing it on, a prototype model on a website, and you're guessing how's this going to fit.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of the knowledge, Miryha, I want to give you extreme kudos and everything because you have such great content out there and videos and stuff. And I think it's just great because you're talking about people size you up. I think you have a very like your presence is just shows light, but the education that you're bringing, like if we went to like the components of a bra, right? We've kind of talked about this. There's like over 50, like
52?
52, like. Even to me, okay, like here we go, like
So
a guy thing, right?
But is that like every bra is there there's a variable of
There's a range.
yeah.
There's a total, there is a wide range depending on the type of style it is and the size that it is and who's making it. A lot of times, every component that needs to be cut, every piece that needs to go into something costs money to do. And so, if you were to go to mass market retailers and you can see something that's hanging there and it looks like a bra, and you're like, oh, okay, I could buy that. There it is in my size. More times than not, especially in our category, there is less make in that product. And therefore, the deliverable is less.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to have 52 component parts to function well. But oftentimes when, top selling styles, like I can show you, I actually made a board.
Yes. Can we see the board?
We would love to see this.
Yeah. Yes. See the board.
So as a dude, I figured it'd be like a couple of clips, some elastic, and maybe some cotton. So that's three parts.
Maybe some lace. Is there a
this
buckle?
This is our number 4 selling bra. That's what this 4 sticker that I forgot to take off is. This is our awareness bra. This is actually, it has a nice story I could tell later, but this is we have a give back to Susan G. Komen. We have 2 fit events a year. There's like a lot of stuff I could tell you, but anyway, so I picked this bra because it has a lot of heart. And it's been in our line for, I think, 18, 20 years. So that bra that you see hanging there, that looks like it's got 2 cups, 2 straps, a wire, maybe like a hook and eye, right?
And this is just like your like go-to comfort, like support. This is
like one of our tried and true bras that women love. This is these are all the different parts that go into this bra. So, for example, so here is the strap, right? Like right at my finger here.
Yeah.
In order for this cushion strap to sit on your shoulder, all of these components are layered together, serving different functions inside of that strap. Then on the back of the strap, you've got your stretch elastic, and you have your rings and your slides so that you can adjust its length. This here is what's at the neckline, is like the piping. But inside of it, because we're experts in this, there's all these hidden components that you put in to restrict stretch or to give stretch so that in different places you get support. For example, here is your cup, but it's not just one layer. It has 2 layers. This is the inside, that's the outside. And then to make sure that the breast tissue stays inside, we have a sling. And of course, you've got the wire that goes underneath it. But the wire has to sit inside of a wire channel. And the wire channel in this one also has a stabilizer so that it doesn't stretch while sewing. These things are the kind of things that other brands like ditch out on because they're extra components that cost money. But in order for all the engineering of this to work, all this stuff has to work in harmony. So you do have a left side and a right side here. So everything is doubled.
Yeah.
That's how you get to 52 parts. And the crazy part is this is just one size, right? So this bra is available in, I think, something like 62 sizes. We offer 78 sizes as a brand.
Wow.
We offer 8
Whoa.
through K-Cup, but just this one has all those sizes. So not only do you have to figure out how to make it work for your 34D, but then you have to figure out all the different proportions of all of these different components for all the different sizes. Like even the wire, depending on the size of the bra, the wire strength is different. It's called the gauge of the wire. It changes both in thickness and tension. So just figuring out what wire you're going to use in a bra is like a whole production.
Wow. And a lot of this just research comes from simply having your fit models or just asking women to come in and find what the most comfortable places of support and stretch and you know, is that really where it begins? Or, you know, where does your if you were to come up with a new bra, where does that process start?
It starts with the material. So usually we have a concept. We want to develop a bra, for example, that gives the ultimate lift, that lifts the tissue 1.5 inches or more. And in order to do that, we start thinking about, well, what kind of fabrics should we use? And more often than not, we develop all of our fabrics with our material suppliers. We very seldomly buy fabrics off of a line. A lot of times we give them the specifications that we want in the material, and then we work with them to get the material. And then we start looking at the different construction. I have a team of 38 here in New York. So, and that's also super unique. Most intimate apparel brands don't they don't have design teams in the United States anymore. While we are manufactured offshore, all of the development work, all the patterning, all the fitting, everything is done here. Really, there aren't other brands that do this anymore. They might have somebody do a sketch here and they send that sketch to the Far East where somebody will make a pattern and submit a garment. And then somebody here will maybe look at it on the body and give verbal communication of how they would want it changed. But for my team, they do all the changes. So I had the patterns in here. Like they'll make, this is the pattern folder for just that one bra. But they'll make all the different pattern pieces here in New York and make the changes necessary to make each of the different sizes work.
Wow.
And that comes from experience and old school mentorship. Like you can't just learn it in school and start the next day and be able to design and fit a bra. It literally takes years of learning the craft of it. And so we have like that type of a mentorship program in our team. If we hire someone out of school, it's years before they're fitting a bra on their own.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still wrapping my head around the amount of SKUs you have.
Yes. That's why I can't start my own line.
Yeah.
Right? So imagine, let's just use 50. We have 50 SKUs maybe in an average bra that we have. Let's say we have 50, it's usually 48, but let's say we have 50 SKUs, size SKUs. We offer it in 3 colors. So now you have, what's that, 150 SKUs.
For one bra, and how many bras do you?
And you need more than one size, times the retailer when they're buying it. So the retailer, when they're, if you're if you're gonna put this bra in your store, you're gonna buy nude in 2 or 3 colors of the 34D times the 40, times the 50 different sizes you have. You're gonna buy it in black in all those same sizes.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're gonna buy the fashion color.
Yeah.
How many products do you guys, not necessarily color wise, but how many different patterns do you guys have as far as just bras, not including underwear or anything
We
else?
have about, if you were to go to our site right now, just in bras, we have about 70 bra styles in our line that are active styles. Um, and that's another thing. That's obviously it's an investment because you have 70 styles times all the sizes times all the colors. But we feel that you can't just have 7 bras in your assortment because women's breast shapes are so different. And that's another thing that's core to our ethos is that we design for size and shape.
Hmm.
And that's where all those educational videos on our site come in
Yeah.
handy to like see the different brush shapes and we have navigation tools to help her sort of see the different breast shapes and be like, oh, that's what I look like when I'm not wearing a bra. And therefore, maybe I am a shallow top breast tissue, and therefore these are the bras that would work well for me. Because it really does make a difference. And again, like when you get that size and shape right, the bra is super comfortable. But when you have one or both of those elements off, not comfortable. And that's what everybody's complaining around you. I hate my bra. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You just have to go get fit.
And and talking about the navigation tools and fit. So you also have is it mybraFit? Is that it?
Yeah.
So that's like a program, right? That people can you can download it and kind of help size yourself. Or
So you don't even have to download it. It just runs off of the product page on our
Great.
website. So this was something very cool we developed actually during COVID. We knew that the customer wasn't going into stores and it would be very hard for her because we're so fit obsessed.
Yeah.
And we really feel like in our heart of hearts, like you need to be wearing the right size. We felt like she would be like abandoned, right? No stores were open. How is she going to figure out what size she was? And so we took about 9 months and we developed the very first digital fit tool that can help women size themselves from their home. And so essentially it's an image capture technology that can sense your measurements and it goes into an algorithm that we built to then determine your size. And we built a recommendation engine that sits on top of that. So it puts your size with your shape and it gives you a customized wardrobe. So that is probably one of the top 3 things I'm most proud of.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That's
and that's
innovative.
so that's image based. So are you doing a profile and a front?
It's a 360.
Okay.
And it's almost it doesn't take a photograph. It's almost like a negative. If
Okay.
you think about it as, or I like to describe it as, like on a boat, you have a depth finder.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it can kind
So it shows
Yeah.
all like the contours.
of the different contours.
Yeah.
And so the tool captures those contours. And we had to work with our partner out of Israel to train the tool to our points that we wanted to take measure and calibrate it. Like during COVID lockdown in New York City, we had 550 women come in with my team wearing masks, we're taking physical measurements and then using this tool to calibrate the tool, digital measurement with our physical measurement to validate like that it was close enough so that we could then build the algorithm that would work with the recommendation engine. I mean, it was crazy. And really, I'm certainly not a computer person. On our sound check for this, I had no sound. So the fact
that we did.
Well, I mean,
that really
that's a huge innovation. Obviously, you guys did all the groundwork, bringing 500 people in, just getting a broad array of different sizes and to load into this program. That seems like a game changer in itself. But are you now like looking at utilizing that along with AI to assist, or do you feel like that system in itself or that program in itself is robust enough?
there is AI
It is,
incorporated
okay.
on the measurement taking side. So like and that component of it is an outside company that we partnered with called Sizer out of Israel. On the measurement, see, I get all tangled in my words. On that measurement area, they are using AI to continually train the tool to get sharper when it's taking measurements. So they've got that happening on the measurement side. On the recommendation side, which is like telling people what style to wear, that's very hard. And I was actually just at a conference last week talking about AI and fashion and, you know, how it can or where it's hard for it to be used. It's very hard to take data that comes back that says fits, doesn't fit, too big, too small, without knowing what that ground zero is. Because if we get data back, customer A orders this 34D bra, and she says it's too big. Does our product fit too big? Is she buying the wrong size? Does she know her size? How do you take that data to train it to make a better recommendation without knowing what your base is? Which is why during COVID, we came in to train that tool on what that base is, because you have to physically see it. We're very happy and very engaged with our fit consultants. We have about 70 women across the US that go into the retail stores that we work with to train their sales staff on our product, how to do fit, how to run our Fit for the Cure events. And those women with their eyes and their knowledge are a feedback loop to me and my team. So they'll call me and they'll be in a fit room and they'll put this one bra, maybe not this one, but they'll put a bra on 50 women. And because they know what the baseline is, they can come back to me and be like, you know what, Mariah, this bra fits a little small. In your development, you fit it small. And then I know, okay, we got to do something different with the mold or for the next bra. But until you're able to figure out what that base is to properly advise which way to take that information, I don't know that we can use AI and data dumps yet in that area. There's a lot of other areas that you can.
Yeah, you need a lot of data points to be able to really execute that at the level that you guys need to, in that scale of product options and
yes,
and the amount of different shapes and sizes. I mean, God, everybody's a little bit different.
When you were in bathing suits, I'm sure you saw it. You could see when you would have models come in, like you could see they might be the same size, but the way the tissue looks is different.
Yep.
And the way it's supported is different. You know, some people could wear a triangle bikini. Some people need the underwire in the bikini.
And we even talked about even with breast augmentation, right? That's totally different.
That's totally different.
Yeah.
That's actually plus for me.
Yeah.
Actually, somebody's augmented. It's a harder thing. There's still product for them, but it's a harder fit because the tissue is not as malleable. So when it's a stretch fabric, it doesn't, they don't necessarily drop in or disperse into the material the same way. So when we're in fit development, we only use models that have natural tissue because we need to make sure that the way that the weight and the volume of the tissue sits in the bra works. When somebody's augmented, it's very perky and very round. And I always call it cheating. Like brands, if you use augmented tissue, it's a lot easier to make your product look good because the product isn't doing any of the work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't think about that.
The doctor did the work. The product's not doing the work. When you with our product, when we're looking for models for our campaigns, like we're looking to make sure we get a really good fit because we don't want to airbrush it. We want it to be natural, but it has to fit her right.
And hold it up,
Yeah.
and so if you have a 34D natural breast compared to a 34D augmented, they're gonna do the same sort of function with that same size. It's just not necessarily needed so much on the augmented breast.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother piece of it,
Yeah.
you know, doctors will suggest to augmented clients different things. Don't ever wear a wire, or wear a wire, don't wear a bra, or wear a bra, you know. So there's a whole, that's a whole thing.
It's a whole
Same thing
thing.
with reconstruction, you know. When women have had breast cancer, like we have a bra for prosthesis. So
Mhm.
like if you've had a mastectomy and you wear a prosthesis, you need a pocket in your bra for that. So we have a style that actually has the pocket already in it and a front closure to make it very easy for women post-surgical of any type, but specifically if they've had a mastectomy. So, you know, we try and make sure we have all women considered within our assortment, which is why we have so many bras.
Is this really the end? Unbelievable. Find out next week.